you like horses, these are the two best days of the year, no doubt about it.
Journalism is someone who I love, but again,
Can't do it. I am very excited because I haven't bet in a bit outside of contest.
they do not profile like a 10-win team. They profile like 7-win type teams. I can't wait to let 18 to 22-year-olds emotionally ruin me.
I made a call, to Vegas. I said, look, we actually need the favorite here.
Bearbets Podcast is back, and it's one of my favorite weekends of the year. I think it's the two best betting days in all of horse racing. Breeders' Cup Friday, Breeders' Cup Saturday, and here to break it all down with me is my big noon kickoff colleague, Dave Portnoy, who is an avid horse player, an avid horse owner. He's qualified for the NHC. He plays in the BCBC, so he is a big horse racing guy. So looking forward to sharing the weekend with him in Columbus this weekend. Unfortunately, the big overlying theme now, Dave, is sovereignty out of the Classic. So you got the Derby winner, the Belmont winner, won the Travers, not going to run the Breeders' Cup Classic, probably going to retire next year. It seems like an unfulfilled type career.
Yeah, sad. And if you're a horse racing fan, there's the school of thought, this is what, and I don't know if it's true, that prevents horse racing from taking the next leap, right? Because whenever you have these mega star horses that you blink and they're gone. Super sad. This race was setting up to be, the best race in recent memory. The first time he could go versus the boys and, sovereignty and fierceness and Sierra Leone and Forever Young. So I was excited. I was going to bet sovereignty. Yeah, it stinks. And they held him out of the Preakness really because they just wanted to be full speed, which I hated that move.
Yeah,
I absolutely hated it. Like the Triple Crown is not supposed to be easy. I get it if you have a physical issue. He didn't. And you get sick. He has a fever. But with horse racing, durability and the ability to be in a lot of races is just as important as any of these things. So I don't care how talented, how great. If this is the end of sovereignty, he doesn't even come close to joining that A-list or top tier horses for me, which is sad because I think he ability-wise may be there.
Yeah, if he were to have capped off this year with the win and the Classic, kind of like Flightline did a couple of years ago, I think you would have had a lot of those conversations be very valid. But
and even me with Flightline, I don't put Flightline in there. Like one great year doesn't do it for me. And Flightline, they were, and I get it. Listen, I hope we're sitting here in 10 years and I can be like, I told you I'd run my superstar horse, but I would not retire. I don't care how much money I'm in it to race horses. But the breeding is so much, but it stinks for a fan. I really want to see it.
Yeah, and you do maybe wonder, maybe they do bring him back in the Pegasus at Gulfstream. Maybe they bring him back at the Dubai World Cup just because of the Godolphin Middle East connection. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll see him run again. If we don't, it was a short-lived but great career. But I guess we won't harp on who's not going to be in the race. We will harp on who is going to be in the race. And now you've got Fierceness, who ran his eyeballs out last year in the Classic, just getting beat by Sierra Leone. He ran lights out at Del Mar a couple weeks back, beating Journalism and others. He's now the new morning line favorite. Is this race as easy as Fierceness and everybody else for you? Or do you think maybe Sierra Leone runs big? Mind Frame, someone who was always thought highly of. There does appear to be some other options in here.
Yeah, there certainly is. I've been a Fierceness guy now for a while. I bet pretty big last year on him to win the Classic, and I thought he was gone. Generally, when Fierceness looks like Fierceness and isn't having one of the throwaway races, he wins. Who knows what they do? I mean, Chad's going back and forth with the rabbit, and if that's just a screw with Fierceness. Fierceness will be my bet, I believe. Like they're saying, what now, 5-2 on him in Sierra Leone. That's a great price. I'm not the Japanese horse. You will not get me to bet on that horse. Mind Frame. I like Mind Frame. I don't know. I mean, I do think it says something that Rapoli put them both in there. Meaning I think that to me, that's like, he feels Mind Frame could win the race. Like,
And
so
you're going to get a better price out of mine for now just because of the last race where he threw the rider and it was 3-2 or 3-2 on the line in the Jockey Club with Sierra Leone with Antiquarian. You'll get a square price on Mind Frame.
yeah. And like I said, I don't think Rapoli's putting that horse. There's no reason to do it unless you think he deserves a chance to win the race. If he didn't think he could beat Fierceness, I'm talking myself into Mind Frame right now. If he didn't think he could beat Fierceness, I just see no way he enters this horse. So there is a bunch of options. So again, it's hard to say who I'm going to land on at this precise moment because Sovereignty was who I was going to take and has only been out of the race for a couple hours. I was assuming I was going to default to Fierceness, but this little conversation and why I love horse racing, I'm talking myself into Mind Frame.
Oh yeah, this is how we do, and this is what I always say to people too. Like, this is why this is like the greatest game to bet because you can all have different opinions. You take other people's information, incorporate it with yours. What am I seeing? Oh, what did I know? I maybe missed that. So we're talking ourselves into things. But the one thing that I do agree with you on here, I'm not talking myself into Forever Young. I think we saw in the races that he had, he just missed in the Derby, ran a decent in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but I think he is still a little bit of a cut below the Mind Frames, the Fiercenesses, the Sierra Leones in here. I don't expect him to win. I think Baez is someone who's gotten a lot of support. I don't know ultimately.
How could anyone pick Baeza? Baeza is and the only potential logic on Baeza is Sovereignty with such a monster. Like he'll be able to run better versus this group. But I mean, I just saw him get beat too thoroughly, too consistently to think he's going to suddenly beat these horses.
Yeah, and that's not exactly the strongest field that he played, that he won in the Pennsylvania Classic. First time against Elders. Yeah, I can't see it again. I think this is a lot of people price hunting, but I do think of all the prices in the race, I think you'll probably get the best bang for your buck for Mind Frame. Journalism is someone who I love, but again,
can't do it. Can't. Journalism's proven enough. Unless something happened in between where these horses improve, like you haven't believed, that's not a horse I think who can. Sierra Leone can win. Fierceness can certainly win. I think Mind Frame can win. Would I die if Forever Young won? No, but I don't think that horse is going to. No, those are the only four for me.
Yeah, it seems like this is not a year for an upset. One race that might actually provide an upset could be the race right after the Classic, the Filly Mare Turf. One of the things that we saw with the post position draw is all of these big favorites in really strong horses drawing all the way outside the parking lot. And that's the case here with She Feels Pretty, who I would have loved in the Filly Mare Turf. But at this distance with a short run to that first turn, 4-1, she's going to have to be much the best, I think, to win this race. Like, I think there's a really good opportunity in here for Diamond Rain. One of the other Euros, Cinderella's Dream, was the runner-up in this race last year. She Feels Pretty, unfortunately, feels very vulnerable from the outside.
Yeah, Diamond Rain. I had that written down. I also now people who know my handicapping, and they're going to be like, well, this doesn't sound like much handicapping, but I give a lot of points to just the coat. And if you have a gray coat, I start paying more attention to you. And we have a gray horse, the 11 here, who I think is a legitimate threat and bedtime story. So I have that written down. I had the diamond, I had the 6. And then way outside, I know it's not a good, the 14 still makes me a little bit nervous. Let me get the names. I got to get.
Yeah, See the Fire.
Yeah, See the Fire, who I think is now also another thing about the Breeders' Cup, which I know we have a lot of controversy on, is the fact that they do the Classic in the middle of the day. So it kind of screws up where you're looking in the book, because usually you can say, well, the race after the Classic, well, that's not a race. So I'm trying to get to my sheets here, Bear.
We've
race 12.
Yeah, it's so funny because the classic always was. I mean, remember watching Zenyatta under the lights at Churchill in
Yep.
the final race against Blame, and that was an unbelievable finish. But you're right. It reminds me of like when on Derby days when you got the two get out races after the Derby, and it's always like a maiden race or an optional claimer, and you always get a good opportunity to kind of get back after getting your brains beaten in the Derby. So yeah, I think we're kind of seeing the Filly Mare Turf the same way. It will be interesting to see these races, what the handle is for some of these races after the Classic because of you get the time change, and we got some college football on Saturday night.
It's college football. That's obviously the way. I mean, these races, listen, I don't always follow it. I feel like if you're just like bet on Aiden O'Brien in every race he enters, you're going to end up with like 2 or 3 winners on the day. It's probably like a safe way to do it. And he does have bedtime story that gray I like. I also like these horses that run when these races with 9 million horses in it come out of Europe. Like some of the big American horses you look at, it's like they haven't had more than 5 or 6 horses in a race, which to me, when you start racing deep fields, can cause complications or unproven in big fields.
And that's, I think, one of the reasons why we've seen Euro runners dominate these races because they can overcome traffic. They're used to these big fields where a lot of these I think it was at Keeneland or a couple of years ago, those California horses were like shut out of basically everything because they're kind of running against watered down short fields, and we don't know how good the fields really are. So we'll see if that changes this year. Remember last year too, so much hype around Forever Young and some of the other Japanese horses badly underperformed last year.
Yep.
So yeah, you're not going to see me any of my money go on a lot of those like auto qualifiers from Japan and then potentially the Middle East as well. But yeah, the Euros, I am all in on the Euros, and the turf is always a great race. We've seen some big prices there before. That race again is on Saturday on that card just before the Classic, I believe. It looks to me like I like trying to find a price in this race. It looks to me like Minnie Hawk, the filly who opted to go in this race. She stands out. Rebels Romance. How can you not appreciate this horse? His 30th start. He's won 20 times, including last year. It looks like the race goes to them. But I think if you're looking for a little bit of a price in this race, maybe to kind of split them, I think the 3-horse Amalok is someone that you might want to throw in your exactas, in your tries. Maybe you play 1-8 with 3 with 1-8, and kind of back and forth, and hope that the two standouts don't run 1-2.
Yep. Yeah, I'm right now leaning, like I said, towards the 11 bedtime story. I always give a long look to anybody that's gray. The horse is gray. I love the trainer. Seems to take a pretty, been in a bunch of grade ones with 1 million horses and been pretty consistent.
It's funny. I have a buddy of mine who, one of his key betting angles, he calls it the unknown gray. Like if he notices that he landed on a horse and like he didn't notice that the horse had a gray coat, like it was like a double fist push.
Well, the thing is, as you know, Bear, there's no race, or it's very rare. There are some. Most handicappers, the hardest part, you can't have everybody. So you start narrowing down a race and you like 4 to 5, 6 horses. Then you just start mixing. Well, I like, whether it's a trainer connection. For me, it's gray. So if there's 3 or 4 horses, and I'm like, I like all these horses, but this one's gray. It may not work every time, but if I stay consistent, it's like playing blackjack. You play by your rules. And if I always hit a 2 versus a 3, which can go either way, just do it every time. So if I take that gray and don't get off of it, I can live with losing.
16 against me, hit me every single time. You're going to give me the queen? I'll just take it. But you know what? Maybe that one time I am going to get the 5.
Exactly.
All right, so race 9, Saturday, the Classic. Race 10, Saturday, the Breeders' Cup Mile. Notable speech, 5-2 on the line. It looks like notable speech with the clean trip is the most likely winner. But again, we're not always looking to press favorites.
So how about this 11 rhetorical in this race? Has run the mile twice, only twice in his career. Both of them by far the best efforts of this horse's career. So maybe he doesn't like a little, no, he hasn't had bad efforts, but specifically has run the mile distance twice and monster races both times. So I like that. Johannes came in second last year, I think, in this race. I think could be right there again. So those are the two that I like. I feel like last year, if I remember, it was pretty formful. If we're having formful Breeders' Cups, formful days, Dave Portnoy is getting crushed.
Yes.
Yeah.
As is the bear.
Yes. So if you're seeing the favorites win, you don't even have to ask me if I cashed. I did not.
Yeah.
It
won't be a good BCBC for you this year if we see a lot of
correct.
4, 5,
you can
5,
just
2.
cross Dave off the list. He is nowhere to be found.
It's funny because you mentioned rhetorical and the mile distance. I am of the same belief that 7 furlongs, mile, those are specialist distance. Like it's in between that sprint, elongated sprint. So it takes a special horse to really excel at those distances. I think another horse, again, if you're looking to beat Rebels Romance in here, or Notable Speech rather, I think Jonquil, the 10, could be that horse here. Again, pretty well accomplished at a mile. Drew so poorly at Keeneland last time out, was only beaten a little bit by rhetorical in that race. Yep. And if you look back in the past performances, Andre Matisse, that the race at Longshot a few races back, Andre Matisse is a really nice horse. It's certainly no embarrassment to losing by a head to that horse. So if you're looking for a little bit of a price there, I think Jonquil could be that horse, the 10 horse. I just don't know what to do with the California-based horses just because of what we were talking about earlier. Forwardal Man is 6 for 6 at Del Mar, but what has he really beaten? You mentioned Johannes, who ran big here last year. It feels like it could go either way. I just wonder if they're going to be too short and they're going to be a big underlay, because that's something I really have a hard time getting behind. If you're seeing 8, 10, 12 to 1 on the morning line, whatever it is, and then you look up and they're about to have the price.
And I don't know what's going to happen, but you're going to have a very frustrated Dave Portnoy as well if these prices, if we get caw action. They're saying that the pools will be too big. That's the official statement right now. I hope that's true, because nobody likes to see the gates open and your odds cut in half 2 seconds in the race.
You and I have both been, you more so than me, but we both have been pretty vocal and animated about our dismay for the CAWs and the odds change. It's brutal on an every day. And I'm glad you brought it up, because one of my buddies involved in the industry, involved with the Breeders' Cup, has said to me, he goes, if it comes up, like this is something that hasn't necessarily been an issue in the Breeders' Cup races, at least to date. Like, so the CAW groups, for whatever reason, the algorithms have been off. So it might not be as big of a deal. It could maybe be a little bit of a help for the everyday bettor on a day like this, with so much in the pool, so many people betting from throughout the world. So hopefully that will continue, because all we want is a fair shake. A couple of years back, like I can remember just having a horse in one of the NHC qualifiers. I needed something at least 5 to 1 or better to have a chance to win. So I bet the horse, who's 6 to 1. They come out of the gate and he's 7 to 2. And it just
that in the contest part of it. Now, the only thing I can stomach in the contest is we're all playing, it's a little different in the pools, but for sure, like in a contest, when you're doing a live contest, you need to know the odds to know what horses to bet, and then the gates open and you're eliminated before the race even goes. So, it's obviously a serious issue. I've been betting forever. I don't recall, and I know CAWs have been around for a bit. I don't know when I started really being like, what the hell is going on? Like, and that is a new thing that I've stopped betting. I used to bet bear every day, like every single day, the major tracks. And it just got to the point I felt like I'm an idiot. Like, I have to win. First of all, I never win to begin with. I do it. I love the horses. I'm not, I know I'm losing going in. I love it in entertainment. But if you tell me I got to win 2 to 2.5 times more than what I was doing before just to get back to even. It's like, what? It's just crazy. So I am very excited because I haven't bet in a bit outside of contest for Breeders' Cup. Like you, it's my favorite gambling 2 days. That and the beginning of March Madness, those are my favorite.
It's funny because the last time I actually bet on a daily card when Big Noon was out in Salt Lake a few weeks ago, left, had a little bit of a layover, was the Salt Lake airport. It was the day of the Pennsylvania Derby and some of I think the Champagne at Aqueduct. I had time to kill. I bet that day, but I haven't fired up the account since then. But so it'll be good that I have some money in the account to get ready for this weekend.
Yeah, I am. I'm saving money, unfortunately, and I don't want to.
Hopefully we'll have plenty of money to blow, and maybe we'll come out with a little bit more money this week. Another big race on Saturday is the Sprint. This race always seems to provide a little bit of a price. Last year, Straight No Chaser got bet down, wound up winning. He is back off of a long layoff, had one race. Not quite sure if he is the same horse this year that he was last year. His prep figure in the same race was like 11 points lower in the buyer. I was surprised Copion, the filly, the one, decided to go here. And unfortunately, what the connections get for trying to take a shot against the boys here. Oh, we're going to draw the rail in this race. So basically you're eliminated at all cost there. Bentornato ran too good last year to lose, but he was like 20 something to 1, and now he's 5 to 2. I want to stand against him.
You have my horse on here.
I have your horse on
Blues, Love Sick Blues plus 1,000 here. Now, this is a great horse, and what jumped out to me, and it's again, his last race on dirt, Del Mar, monster number. So I love that. I love that. And really hadn't run on dirt for a long time since then, all the way back to 2024. So 2 races back, 105 buyer, grade 1, and he's gray. There you go. I don't need much more than that.
Proven over the surface, I think, is a massive angle for me in a lot of these races. Certainly that's something on Derby weekend. The same kind of thing. I always like moving a horse up that may have debuted or run well in a maiden race at Churchill, coming back on Derby day, either in the Derby or a couple of those races. But you're right. Yeah. Baraccio, the trainer, had a monster Del Mar meet this year. I think Lovesick Blues is very live. I think Banishing is alive in this race as well. Cuts back after a couple of route races, just lost to Mindframe. It's 7 furlongs at Churchill Downs on Derby Day. Dead heated with Nisos, who is a standout in the dirt mile. So I think there are other places to go if you're looking to beat either last year's champ, Straight No Chaser, Bentornato, 5 to 2. I think between Lovesick Blues, Dave's horse, and Banishing, my horse, I think you do have a couple of price plays here, because this is typically a race that doesn't necessarily, like I said, play to form.
Yep. Great.
I hinted at one horse there in terms of a bet. You got anything on either on the races that we've discussed or something else throughout the card that you
had me look
as the best bet?
You had me look at what race was this? The 6th on Friday, which is the juvenile and I believe Phillies race. You had me look. I actually like Havana Anna in that race. Now Havana Anna, this is another one. I just bought 2 Havana horses out at what do they call it? Tapper to the, what is the sale in Europe? Tapper.
Tap rolls.
Yeah, whatever the hell that thing is.
Exactly.
So I bought 2. I never heard of Havana Gray, but when you're looking for gray horses, this is a great gray sire. So I bought 2 of them, named Havana Daydreamin', and then after a Cuban Flower. So I feel like there's a relative. I also like in that race the 12 gray 2 for 2 on turf. Lemonlou, I believe is the name. Yeah, it's only run twice on turf. Won both races. Another one of those kind of interesting surface things. It's like you've only run twice on this surface, and now you're in the Breeders' Cup. So those are 2 horses I like in that race. The others, I will say, Bear, I usually don't handicap this early. So I knew I was doing this show because
Well, thank
to
you.
me, there's so much information continues to come along. It's like I almost overload myself. And, I'm a handicapper. I'll generally do it the morning, day before, try to watch backtracks. This is early for me to handicap.
It's super early for me as well. Like it's kind of the hand that I'm dealt, like in terms of the prep for the week with the college football kind of coming first and foremost. It's like, let me get the majority of the horse racing stuff done, at least write the column, prepare for the podcast. And then come Friday, Saturday, kind of go back through depending on any biases in the track that might come across and seeing maybe inside, outside workout reports and any backstretch. But yeah, I'm with you. Usually I am take it kind of race by race, but I just think the way the card shapes out, getting as ahead of the game as possible.
No doubt it helps.
Yeah, just at least to give you a little bit of an idea as you go. And I want to wish good luck to the connections of the 10 horse Cy-Fair in there. Reagan Swinbank, one of the owners there. He's a big college football fan, a Texas A&M guy. So he's all wound up with the Aggies having the great start to the year that they're having. But good luck to Cy-Fair in that race. If you're referring to us and you're hearing us, what race going through the remember Daily Racing Forum has got you covered for everything. I know some people like the time form, some people like the rags. I am an old school handicapper. The Daily Racing Forum is my Bible. So make sure you
that's what I use. And even still, we were talking before, I'm in the contest, the Breeders' Cup Challenge, which for those people who don't know, it's a $10,000 entry free. I believe 2,500 of it goes to the pool, if I'm not mistaken. And then it's real money. So that affects the gambling too, because you're in this thing to place, to win, do whatever. And what place you are in the contest will start dictating the types of bets you make and the types of horses that I'm looking at. So a lot of information, but if you like horses, these are the 2 best days of the year, no doubt about it.
It is. And I think the biggest bet I'm going to make on the weekend will be on Saturday. And I hate being a chalk eating weasel, but I think Nisos in the Dirt Mile is the most likely winner on the 2-day card. He's been a horse that Bob Baffert has been in love with for a long time. I think the way he is rounding into form here, and unless Full Serrano catches a flyer and takes him gate to wire, I do think Nisos 3 horse, someone who just romped at Del Mar on the San Diego handicap, broke maiden here or won the Bob Hope rather for fun. He's someone who, look, the only race he lost was the race off the long layoff, 7 furlongs in the slop at Churchill. Flavian Pratt up. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near 8-5. I think he's going to be odds on, but this could be a pretty good opportunity to kind of double your money.
Sounds good to me, Bear.
And then one last question for you. Any other live long shots that you may have come up with? I know you said it's early, you haven't fully gone through anything, but
yeah, I haven't gone through the whole. I mean, I've given them because those are the only races that I looked at so far.
Yeah, so go back and listen. Damn, why am I asking you another question about that? I'm doing a poor job of getting your long shots out there. Terrible job by me, the host. But I do have a long shot in a race that we haven't discussed. It's the Juvenile Turf, which is the last race on Friday. The number 7 horse, Gordon Pass, I think is super live at 20-1. You mentioned Rhetorical, Will Walden. He gets horses to outrun their odds.
I agree.
Quite a bit. This horse is 20-1. Arad Ortiz isn't hopping on a 20-1 shot on a Breeders' Cup Friday, just hanging around at the end of the card just for exercise. I think this horse is live. He was 50-1 last out at Keeneland, had a brutal trip, just beaten a couple of lengths. I think I'm going to be using him all over in this race. The 14 horse Gestad is another one of those big favorites that drew poorly. So I think that 7 horse Gordon Pass is someone who you really want to use up and down the board in the last race on Friday.
All right, Bear, I'm going to put that in my notes. I'll let you know. I'll if I'm not with you, how that works out.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be a fun dinner on Friday. But we're
I'm
gonna
not
be
going to
sitting, we're
dinner.
gonna
What
be
are you,
sitting there
crazy?
with forms and
No,
phone with
Bear,
watching races.
Bear, I already canceled on the dinner.
Good for you.
What do you
I
think? I'm
haven't
going to the
committed yet.
dinner when this thing's going on? Come on, this is serious business. No shot am I going to. They said on the phone today, we got you in for dinner. They're lucky I'm going to the football game. I haven't missed a Breeders' Cup live in like 15 years.
This is always a fun weekend because I think back now on my time on game day, like this was always my favorite weekend. And on Saturday, I would always have we'd have the 5 TVs in the back of the bus, and I'd sit front left, and I would always have Breeders' Cup on the lower left. And I got Kirk involved in firing, other guys. Fowler is a big horse racing guy. Other people on Lee Fitting, everyone's like firing on a Breeders' Cup with me, kind of, and it turned it from making fun of me for dialing on the Breeders' Cup to all them joining in the fun. It's a great weekend. It's a lot of fun, and I remember in 2006, it would have been when ABC ESPN had the Breeders' Cup and Chris Fowler hosted. Reese Davis was in College Game Day, and all the guys set up the picks. They had the jockey silks on and goggles. And I remember Kirk at the time asking me who I liked. And in the classic, because they were going to do the classic at the end of the pick segment. And I said, I like Cold Exacta, Invasor over Bernardini. And Kirk goes on the air. He's like, yeah, I'm a guy who knows, Chris Fallica tells me it's Invasor over Bernardini. And what did it come back? Invasor over Bernardini. It paid very nicely. And I remember that night, we were at a Texas A&M game. I think they played Oklahoma, maybe Nebraska. And they did like the cut in to, in the Breeders' Cup Classic, Invasor wins. And back to you, Brent. And Brent Musburger says to Kirk, he's like, I was watching College Game Day earlier today, and I saw you pegged that one. And Kirk's like, yeah, I had a little help from, he says my name, and Brent's like, that explains it. One of the better handicappers and the horses I know. So I got the tip of the cap for Brent. So that made my weekend.
That. It's a great story.
So yeah, maybe I'll hit decline, even though if I hit decline, I'm going to hear from Jeff Ruby about that. Cause I know he'll be, Ruby's on Friday. So that he'll, I won't hear the end of it.
They have a Ruby's in Columbus.
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
And that barrel cut filet is an unbelievable.
Yeah, it's the best. I was there. I went when I was in Lexington to watch Miss Watermelon run. That's where our pregame meal was on Friday. Yeah.
We'll have to do that one year, whether Lexington, Louisville, Cincinnati, Columbus. Yeah.
We got to convince Kentucky to transfer to the Big 10 or the Big 12.
Exactly. Or maybe Louisville will host a Big 10 or a Big 12 game next year, non-conference. We can get there. But this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you taking some time on a crazy week. I know you got a lot going on personally and professionally. So thanks a lot. Hopefully we gave everybody some winners. For Dave, I'm Bear. Thanks for watching. YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, less you bet, the more you lose when you win.